So Tom Cruise is arguably the greatest movie star to have ever lived. Blockbusters? He's done them. Records? He got those. Oscars? Really impressive awards from lots of other places? You freaking know he does. When describing the ultimate movie star, you'll invariably end up describing Tom Cruise. Beginning with his career as a heartthrob to his expansion into more dramatic roles, he cemented himself as a bankable star across multiple generations. He's also intensely weird.
I tell you, it's amazing interview Tom Cruise.
What's amazing about it?
He doesn't break eye contact with you.
And then we jump off, and he just looks at me in the Tom Cruise kind of way, and he goes, "Welcome to mission."
I realized I am not breathing, and I had to breathe again.
That's bad.
That's you hanging off a cat.
I'm hanging.
Yeah. There you are. Water.
That's fantastic.
We figured out if we turned the oxygen off in the back guy that we could make it at this altitude.
He fell asleep.
Isn't that attempted manslaughter? You just turn a guy's oxygen off?
I hope you enjoyed Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. It is a wild ride.
You see, for all the carefully manicured PR moments we've seen of Tom over the years, there have been a number of times where we saw a different side of Cruise.
Peter, you want to know. You're stepping over a line. Put your manners back in. Psychiatry is pseudo-science. You should be a little bit more responsible in knowing
I'm
really...
not prescribing Ritalin, Tom. Prescribing Ritalin, Tom.
I don't ever want to see it again, ever! And if you don't do it, you're fired. And I see you do it again, you're gone.
And today, we're going to look back on Tom Cruise's profanity-laced tirade from the set of Mission: Impossible: Dead Reckoning: Part 1 asterisk, which took hold of the world media in the waning weeks of December 2020. But whether it was a concerted exercise in Hollywood spin or the genuine, albeit somewhat shattered will of the people, Cruise suffered no real punishment for the meltdown, with public sentiment being on his side pretty much throughout the entire story's place in the news cycle. So what happened here? What got Cruise so fired up? And was this a beleaguered speech from a weary but passionate producer, or is he simply So, where are we? When are we? We're just a few years ago, in December 2020. Amid that time, we're all still trying to forget, or at least shed the pounds we gained during it, the global pandemic. The incident occurred on the set of Mission: Impossible: Dead Reckoning: Part 1 asterisk, the latest in the Mission Impossible series, all of which have starred and been produced by series lead and Jim Phelps usurper Tom Cruise. The film has been subject to intense scrutiny due to lockdowns resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic. At some point on set, Tom Cruise spies two crew members huddled around a computer, breaking the social distancing protocol, and with that, we're off to the races. The audio begins with Cruise announcing,
"We are the gold standard."
And explaining his nightly routine.
I'm on the phone with every studio at night.
Cruise then lays out the consequences for further violations of the COVID protocols.
I don't ever want to see it again, ever. And if you don't do it, you're fired. And I see you do it again, you're gone. Anyone on this crew does it. That's it. And you too, and you too, and you. Don't you ever do it again.
Now, the reporting on this is hazy, so it's unclear how many people he's yelling at, but the media consensus seems to be it's just two crew members, which only makes it more strange that he keeps saying, "and you, and you, and you." I like to imagine that he's so filled with rage that he's developed tunnel vision, and he's just going back and forth, constantly forgetting and being reminded that there's somebody else there.
That's it. No apologies. You can tell it to the people that are losing their homes because our industry is shut down. It's not going to put food on their table or pay for their college education.
Such a weird choice of words from Cruise here. Like, why is Tom Cruise so attuned to the plight of student debt holders?
Tom Cruise, do you remember what you did with your first kind of check where you noticed you had some money in the bank?
I actually paid for my sister's college education.
God damn it.
Cruise follows up the statement with another one that's hilariously hyperbolic.
That's what I sleep with every night. In the future of this industry.
This is what I live with every day. I lather this up with Kiehl's in the shower.
You want to touch this shit?
Next up comes probably the most telling line of this audio. I want you to really listen to this statement, really drink it in. If you forget everything else that we've talked about during this video, I want you to remember these words and the fact that they were spoken by a 58-year-old man who has raised children.
So I'm sorry, I'm beyond your apologies. I have told you, and now I want it. And if you don't do it, you're out. We are not shutting this movie down!
but more on that later. Just want you to keep that in mind. Let's continue on with the audio. From here, Cruise gets caught in a loop of threatening the crew members, asking for their loyalty, and then attempting to justify his actions, going so far as to get the crew to verbally agree each time.
Is it understood? If I see it again, you're gone. That's it. Am I clear? Do you understand what I want? Do you understand the responsibility that you have? That's what I'm thinking about. That's what I'm doing.
This is what I live with every day. I lather this up with Kiehl's in the shower.
You want to touch this shit?
Finally, sensing he may have been irreparably cruel to these crew members who are also experiencing this pandemic, albeit with roughly $600 million fewer dollars in their bank accounts, Cruise begins trying to inject some empathy into the proceedings as he winds down the tirade.
I care about you guys. But if you're not going to help me, you're gone. So you see that stick? How many meters is that?
Sorry, never mind. He just threatens and condescends to them again.
When people are standing around a computer and hanging out around here, what are you doing?
I want to make this clear because the reporting on this got a little fuzzy in my research. Everyone on set and in this audio was wearing masks. You can tell Cruise is from the way that his rant gets muffled. The rule they broke, the cardinal sin these two crew members committed, was huddling next to one another at a computer in clear violation of the meter stick. The audio I have also ends here, but according to the transcript released by the Sun tabloid, there's actually one more line of audio that you don't get to hear, which is the true end to the rant.
And if they don't comply, then send their names to Matt Spooner. That's it.
Who's Matt Spooner? Well, Matt Spooner was the safety coordinator for the film, whose role shifted into the main COVID rule enforcer once everything went down. And you know what? I suspect Spoonman wasn't the hard ass like Tom Cruise would want him to be. He's not running a tight ship. I mean, he can't. Look at all the infections. People are dropping left and right. Spoonman's got to do something. Why does Cruise have to play the bad cop all the time? Where's Spoonman? But here's the thing. It's Cruise's own fault. He handpicked Spoonman, and probably not for the right criteria. How do we know that? Because Tom Cruise wouldn't stop running his damn mouth about it.
I had dinner with Tom Cruise.
Damon knows. Damon will tell you.
Okay, so I go to the safety guy. I tell him this is what I'm going to do. The safety guy says, you can't do that. That's too dangerous. So I get another safety guy.
Spoonman's a yes man, doesn't run a tight ship. So I think your anger's misplaced, Tom. You shouldn't be yelling at these crew. You should be yelling at your spoon. As you'd expect from any instance of the boss flying off the handle at his employees, work quickly resumed as if nothing had happened. That is, until UK tabloid The Sun got a hold of and released the audio. And so, as the first year of the global pandemic came to a close, Tom Cruise found himself embroiled in a media firestorm. Normally, you'd expect a healthy amount of public shaming for this type of behavior. Hell, the guy still hasn't lived this down. But as will become more apparent as the video goes on, nothing about Tom Cruise's life follows logic or expectation. Which brings us to part 2. From the moment the audio hit the media cycle,
this recording went viral real quick.
Hey, I'll handle the commentary. The recording went viral real quick. Every outlet you can think of had run with the story, from the entertainment news staples to Saturday Night Live.
Tom Cruise was recorded yelling at the crew for violating COVID restrictions. Apparently, the crew was using camera tricks to make it appear like they were separated by 6 feet, when in reality it was closer to 5'4".
However, within hours of the audio dropping, the shock seemed to wear off, and sentiments from celebrities and fellow filmmakers were surprisingly accepting.
Just playing this Tom Cruise meltdown, which I didn't think was that big a deal.
But I get it. Imagine the pressure on that man. Imagine the pressure on him. Those films absolutely rest on his shoulders.
If you listen to his words, Tom Cruise is 100% correct.
If Tom Cruise worked in the White House, we could have had the vaccine back in April.
Because yeah, he's mad, but it's for a good cause.
I am a big fan of we're gonna keep working. I want all you to have jobs.
If I'm the guy that fucked up and was crowding around, I'm cool with a public berating.
And it was George Clooney's response that carried the greatest amount of weight, with Clooney being the only leading man / director and producer to really sound off.
Hey, did you hear this tape of Tom Cruise?
Oh yeah, I just heard it.
I think it's terrific. I found it admirable. What do you think?
Well, he didn't overreact because it is a problem. It's tricky, right? You do have a responsibility for everybody else, and he's absolutely right about that. And if the production goes down, a lot of people lose their jobs. And I understand why he did it. He's not wrong at all about that.
So as we can see, the general response from Hollywood was, I kinda agree with him, I just wish he hadn't been so loud, which is surprising to say the least. So why the different standard for Cruise here? Well, it's hard to overstate the effect that the pandemic had on everything worldwide in the year 2020. In the wake of an airborne virus that had begun claiming lives around the globe with no vaccine or end in sight, nationwide lockdowns were mandated to prevent the opportunity of viral spread. Everything, and I mean everything, shut down, including the film industry, which was hit particularly hard due to the nature of Hollywood film productions. You see, for all the hundreds of people responsible for making a big Hollywood action movie, as far as the payroll is concerned, they really only fall into two groups, above the line and below the line. Everyone whose name would appear on a movie poster you can think of as above the line. Directors, writers, producers, people making money on the movie. Painters, makeup artists, cameramen, the guy who keeps the craft service table stocked. These are all below the line employees. Below the line crew get paid hourly, and if there's no work, they don't get paid. If the whole movie gets shut down for months on end, they're out of a job and a paycheck until that movie starts again. To give you guys a personal perspective on how the pandemic affected the film industry, I reached out to friend and fellow YouTuber Scott Prop and Roll to hear his experiences during the pandemic.
Well, on March 13th, everything shut down. We had heard rumblings that it might happen. You know, everything was uncertain. No one knew really what was going on. All business stopped. It was just, screeching wheels. Then it was nothing for the whole summer.
Must have been really stressful for you guys.
It was extremely stressful, especially early on. Everyone was scared, was worried about what was going to happen. Then come July is when things were starting to happen again.
So after several very tense months, production on MI7 finally resumed in England, but the air remained fraught. Whenever infections would happen to crew members, production would have to shut down for weeks on end, in a one step forward, two steps back kind of pattern that left many people exhausted emotionally and mentally. But for Cruise, he was being exhausted financially as well, with MI7 going on to become the most expensive film of the COVID era. The spin that was put on this situation was that of a beleaguered Cruise, ever the perfectionist, ever the industrialist, wanting to force the world back to the normal we all miss so much. If he was guilty of anything, it was of caring too much about the crew. If this is starting to remind you of an abusive relationship,
because yeah, he's mad, but it's for a good cause.
You're picking up what I'm putting down here. It's not a good look, Tom. And that's not to say that everyone let Cruise off the hook here. Within hours of the audio being released, 5 members of the crew quit the picture. It's unknown if any of these 5 were part of the altercation, but the timing is pretty bad. Along with this, one producer, unrelated to the film, spoke up to NBC News with a poignant response.
I can't even imagine how I would be reprimanded. That's not a way that I can act on the set, and we shouldn't. We certainly shouldn't exclude him from following that type of standard. He's a rich, powerful white man that has been placed on this pedestal on a world stage. But if I, a young Asian American woman, took that tone with my crew on a set, that just wouldn't be acceptable.
Ah, the truth! It stinks!
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
But I think Ava DuVernay probably had the best take here.
If you shot during the pandemic, you know the Herculean effort it is to keep a project going within COVID protocols. Then some dude doesn't want to wear a shield? Nah, been there, felt the rage. Also, if I did that on set, I'd be directing icing videos for the local bakery.
And she's right. If audio had leaked of pretty much anyone who wasn't Tom Cruise going on a 2-minute long rant, cursing at crew members, threatening to fire them repeatedly, they'd be exiled from the industry as a maniac. And without the context of an economy-crippling pandemic, I don't think there'd be any justification for this behavior. But somehow, Cruise comes out of this as a champion of the people, getting props from the American gangster Chael P? Nah.
Bale was right. Christian Bale was right. God damn it.
And ultimately, there was little doubt that Cruise would walk away from this unharmed, like so many of his movie stunts. So little doubt, in fact, some began to speculate that it was a stunt itself. Which brings us to part 3. As far as parodies go, there was really only one good one, and it nailed the moment so well that no one else dared challenge it.
You're back here in Hollywood making movies right now because of us! I'm on the phone with every studio at night, insurance companies, producers. We are creating thousands of jobs, you
10 out of 10. No notes. Now, onto the conspiracy theories. Oh goody, I get to put on the tinfoil hat again. As you can imagine from these tabloidy affairs, when it comes to who recorded this and why, there's not a lot of concrete evidence to go off of. So how did the Sun get this audio? It was almost certainly leaked to them through a crew member on set, likely for a good chunk of cash. The UK loves their tabloids so much that they even have websites set up so that even the simplest Google search gets you to them. If we listen closely to the audio, we can hear a fair amount of rustling, suggesting that this was a surreptitious recording, likely done from somebody's smartphone and then quickly dropped back into their pocket. Don't believe me? Check this out.
Oh, hey, baby. I meant to tell you, I need your help with one of my videos.
You need a voice recording.
The gag is going to be that you're going to say something embarrassing about me. So, like, you know, something about how, you know, we like pegging or...
You do like pegging, though.
Pretty damning evidence, right? So while it's pretty obvious this was a secret recording from a crew member leaked to the UK tabloids for cash, whenever Tom Cruise is in the news, Leah Remini's Google alert is not far behind. In response to the audio leak, the longtime Scientology critic gave a different take on the situation.
Tom does not care about the families of his crew. This is all for publicity. I mean, how anyone is falling for this is just mind-blowing. I would bet that Tom had this rant written for him and had his Scientology assistant record and release it.
As true as Remini's stories on growing up within the Scientology community may be, I just don't buy this conclusion, and I'll tell you why. It all comes down to control. Cruise, as a wildly successful film star, exorbitantly wealthy, practically the #2 in our religion, he exerts an insane amount of control over his life. Forget about all the stars, they're just like us bullshit. Once you have the wealth and influence that Tom Cruise has, no is not really a thing anymore. Let's put yourself in the mind of a Tom Cruise. I'm Tom Cruise. I fly fighter jets for fun. I fired my safety guy so I could bring in Spoon Man. I have a staff of people who get me things, maintain my schedule. I'm the boss on every set I walk on. People trip over themselves just to interact with me. I am in control. Cruise control. But along comes this virus, and suddenly everything's shut down. Films are being canceled left and right. Millions of dollars are going down the tubes for other productions, and you're struggling to make the calls and keep the promises just to keep the thing afloat. For the first time in a long time, you, Tom Cruise, are not in control, and you gotta stay that way for a while. And if there's one thing I've learned about Cruise, it's that he hates not being in control. In fact, while she missed the mark on why the audio got leaked, I think Leah Remini's assessment on his behavior is spot on.
Tom's reaction that was released yesterday shows his true personality. He is an abusive person. I witnessed it. I've been a recipient of it on a small level. This is the real Tom. This was the same reaction Tom gave his household staff when they did not have the right ingredients for him to make chocolate chip cookies.
Wait, what?
Let me just get something out of my car.
Shit's pretty fucked up. People were terrified of offending Tom, and not without reason. Once when Angelo and I were over,
Tom decided he wanted to make cookies. He walked into the kitchen where a batch of prepackaged cookie dough had been prepared and was sitting on the counter. Tom was looking for flour and other ingredients and must not have seen the cookie dough, and he instantly got angry. "Guys, where's the cookie stuff?" he said. His assistants came running in, wanting to explain that it was right there on a nearby counter, but all one of them could say was, Tom. They both grew more flustered, and Tom got angry. "God damn it! Can I just get the stuff for the cookies, guys?" "Get in the fucking present time is what you need to do," he then screamed at his assistant. The whole scene was so painful to watch that I had to step in. "Oh wait, Tom, is this it?" He looked at the dough, the assistant looked at him, and I was looking at the both of them, all of us incredulous. "Oh," he said, "thanks." And that was it.
So yeah, cookie freak out from Tom. Very weird. But there's a similar moment on the set of one of his films where he did pretty much the exact same thing.
The guy was over there and he said, "Okay, we're gonna go on 3." And he started going 3, 2, 1. I said, whoa, stop. I said, "You just said on 3. He said, "Well, I meant 3. What does that mean?"
And don't let his delivery fool you. There's no way he wasn't shouting at the stunt guy.
"Do I go on 1? Like, when do I go?" He kind of looked at me like, "I don't know. I'm not sure."
Then there's the time he got squirted with water. You remember that?
Now, why would you do that?
Remember when he got squirted in the eye with water?
No, it's okay. No, wait a second. What's so funny about that?
He lost his mind for like a minute.
Hey, no. Don't run away. Don't run away. That's incredibly rude. I'm here giving you an interview and answering your questions, and you do something really nasty. You're a jerk.
I mean, this guy was a real jerk.
So yeah, I don't think this was a publicity stunt from Cruise. I think this was a genuine moment of stress and weakness from a man who has built his identity around himself being an unstoppable force, being met with the immovable object that was COVID-19. But as it turns out, Tom Cruise is a very stoppable force. Just gotta misplace the cookie dough. Which brings us to part 4. Is Tom Cruise unhinged? Well, let's think about this for a second. He's an ultra-wealthy, ultra-powerful member of the Hollywood elite who has insulated his life from any and all forms of danger except for the ones he willingly volunteers for, perpetually used to getting his way, faced with low-stakes social distancing violation from 2 mask-wearing members of his crew, which he chose to respond to this behavior by threatening, shaming, and berating those crew members for minutes on end, behavior that to this day he still feels is justified. So yeah, I'm going to say you're unhinged, Tom. In the midst of a pandemic that had placed us all in a panic state for like 2 years, that was claiming lives at an unprecedented rate, Cruise lashed out at these guys with a sense of superiority that should be neither ignored nor forgotten. I debated for a long time whether or not I should even do an episode on this, because unlike the other moments that I've got planned, I think this one really hurt people. I mean, 5 folks quit over this. But you know what? Comedy equals tragedy plus time. And I think enough time's passed that we can all collectively laugh at the crumbling facade that is Tom Cruise's willpower. Seriously, his whole character in Mission: Impossible: Dead Reckoning: Part 1 asterisk is the living manifestation of destiny. And yet he can't figure out how to tell 2 guys to bring 2 computers to set tomorrow. And that's all he'd have to do. Have a second MacBook brought on set, maybe a second table. They probably had enough chairs. Once again, the solution's right in front of him and Tom Cruise can't see it. Misplace the cookie dough. Thanks for watching, guys. And if you stuck around this long, hang tight, because I want to talk to you about the future of this series. These first 2 episodes of Unhinged have been on A-list celebs, but I don't think the next are going to be A-listers. There'll probably be some people you've heard of, maybe something from like 15 or 20 years ago though. But they're going to be something fun. So I hope you'll hit the like button, subscribe, the bell, hit all the things, leave all the comments. You guys are doing a great job so far. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Talk to you guys later.